his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authoritative man. I'm ready to die, but not for a lie. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, everybody out in Butte, Montana, everybody in Boise, Idaho. Hopefully you're all doing well. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, my own personal Wikipedia, Danielle Alexandra. Danielle, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Doing well?
Yeah, I am. A little tired.
A little tired, huh?
But otherwise well.
All right, we'll go with that. I'll approve that message. Also in studio is the Prime Minister of all things that are sinister, Greg Bowen. How are you doing, sir?
Spectacular.
Oh, Greg's doing spectacular. Danielle, you might want to up your game if you want to get as good as Greg. Greg's doing spectacular, and you're just doing,
I would say that I was at a meeting last night, and that's why I'm tired, but he was there, and he was there longer.
Yeah, you guys left before I did. You didn't even have to put up with the stuff I did.
No, I just gave my little class on the legislative process and left. I was like, I'm out.
Which was awesome, by the way.
Audi 5000.
I'm glad you liked it, and you've heard most of it before.
Oh yeah, I've heard it before. Like in the middle of it, Casey leaned over to me. She's like, I think I took this class. I was like, yeah, I've taken this class and I've taken this class, like Danielle's class. She's like, let's go have a cigarette. I'm like, yeah, let's go have a cigarette.
I saw you guys walk out. I'm like, oh, you're a bunch of jerks.
I was thinking about it. I was like, I think Danielle will understand. I've taken her class before.
Yeah, it was cool. And the one thing is, like, when I'd ask a question, like, who knows about regional planning councils? Like, you're the only hand. Yeah, I know, Greg. Okay.
I know you know, Greg.
Put your hand down.
Well, other people knew. Here's the funny thing is that, and I'm glad you brought up the things that you brought up, like when it came to, you talked about regional planning councils, and then you asked if anybody else knew anything about it, and then they didn't raise their hand. And then after you described it, then they're like, well, Agenda 21. And you're like, yeah, and I don't say that word, I use regional planning councils.
Right. And, I was so glad that people brought things up like that. Like, oh, that sounds like Agenda 21. I'm like, I'm so glad you said that, and here's why I never say that word.
Yeah.
Which it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and it seems like I think that as activists, we don't realize that our messaging is sometimes what's holding us back. Mm-hmm. So we say these things that for each other, we understand what each other's talking about. We don't see it as, as a fringe issue because we know at the heart that they're not talking about it in the fringe manner. But when you say it to someone else, you don't understand that you can't use the same messaging as we talk to each other. And I think that that's one of those important things that we do in that class is say, yeah, it is all of that stuff, but here's why you need to worry about messaging. And I think it really resonates with people when they hear the reasons behind it and that. So I hope that in those classes, not only do they learn the legislative process, but they learn that, that they really need to focus on their messaging and talk about, this is what I see here and I want to hold you accountable to this. Because it's really going to help it's going to help move the ball forward and help move our legislators in Tallahassee to more of a liberty, kind of stance on things, because their constituents are going to come to them with so much knowledge and so much pinpointing why did you do this specifically that they're not going to be able to skirt around the issue anymore.
That's true. And I'm glad that you are phrasing it in the way that you're phrasing it, and it needs to be phrased that way.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
It is funny when someone mentions something and I'm like, absolutely, and here's why I never want to hear you say that word again.
Well, yeah. The buzzwords are the killers.
They are.
If people are going to keep use the buzzwords, then I wish they wouldn't. However, I still think that even after you explain that to some people, they still use the buzzwords.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So some people are gonna, but the people who really want to make an honest change and that want to do it, that want to see results and not want. It's one thing. I get that they'll no, they should listen to me because they work for me and I want them to listen. And people that do that are absolutely right. But at the end of the day, we can yell at them for that, but that's not going to get us anywhere. Let's do the things that will get us somewhere. So I do understand why people just say, no, I'm going to use it. I'm going to say what I want to say because they have to listen. I understand that, and I wish that would work. I mean, we need, and the thing is if we elected better people, that would work.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have these freaking problems.
Right, but you got to work with the people that you got, and
God bless America.
It's kind of like the way everybody loves Donald Trump because he speaks from the heart, but also that same speaking from the heart is going to keep him from ever getting elected.
Wish that heart wasn't so racist.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't so black and dry.
Shriveled up.
The problem with Trump is he doesn't know what he's talking about. But
There's
he's the
that, too.
He's the greatest bull crapper in the world. He's the greatest BSer that there is, and he is one of those guys that can do that. But at the same time, doesn't even know what he's talking about in most things.
No, and
He's got a little bit of an idea, but it's like just a little bit.
Now, Trump did go to the border. He went in Laredo, and Gary Johnson put out a statement, and he didn't call Trump a racist again. It was actually a really good statement that I completely agreed with, and he actually addressed the fact that there are violent crimes going on, and that we need to stop putting that as an immigration issue, because violent crimes are violent crimes, and that's a separate issue, and anyone who is committing a crime, whether regardless of where they're from, we need to address that, and we need to address that swiftly, and not have the overcrowding in our, because of simple drug possession, that we have all this overcrowding, that we're letting violent criminals go way too early, and that's not an immigration issue, that is a jail issue, that we have overcrowding, failed drug war, and we need to start making room for people who are violent criminals regardless of where they come from.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yep.
All right. A lot of different news this week.
Kind of a roller coaster of a
A little bit of a roller coaster. Let's get into the shooting first.
Well, and this has been all over the news, so obviously people, when we talk about this, they're going to know what it is. But there was another movie theater shooting in Lafayette, Louisiana, yesterday. It was at a screening of the movie Trainwreck. 58-year-old gunman came in and started shooting, and then took his own life. So he actually died of a self-inflicted wound. He has been, as of this morning, about 8 o'clock this morning, they have identified the gunman. His name was John Hauser, and he had just gotten to Louisiana in July, but he was sort of a drifter. Came from Alabama, moved a lot, was staying in a local hotel, and didn't really have any ties to the community whatsoever. But didn't really have ties to any community whatsoever. So we don't know a lot about the situation, except that he went into the movie theater, fired at least 13 rounds. 3 people, one of them being the shooter, have died. One died at the scene, and one when they were in critical condition. There was 2 teachers in the theater that I don't think knew each other, but one of them actually jumped in front of the other one and saved that person's life, and so they're calling that teacher a hero, and I think that he's in critical condition right now. 7 other people are not critically injured, but injured and were taken to the hospital.
When are you people going to learn to stop texting during the movie?
Because that was the shooting here.
No, I understand. But damn. All right, then.
Turn your phones off. Sorry.
That's hardcore right there. You think this guy did all this just to try to get more people to not text during the movies?
No, I make jokes at this horrible world that we live in, so
jokes.
I'm not crying all the time. I'd rather laugh than cry, so I make jokes about it.
And there's no indication of drug use. It does appear that he did have alcohol in his system at the time, He has no criminal history. I mean, this is one of those where I don't know if we'll ever know why he decided to do that. Maybe he thought in Louisiana someone would shoot him. Like maybe he thought it would be like a
Death by movie theater.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's sad though.
It is.
It's just, people are gonna be stupid. You are gonna have people that are stupid, man. It's just the way it is. The way life is that people are gonna be stupid. But
I do
feel bad for the families of the people that died,
Yeah.
and I feel bad that you went to the movie Trainwreck too.
Yeah, seriously, why?
Don't get me wrong. I actually like that girl as an actor. I mean, I think Amy Schumer's very the interesting kind of. She's a very funny actor or a very funny comedian.
Yeah.
And like, she's like uber funny and kind of hot.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I do think she's funny. I don't know if I necessarily want to see her in a movie, though.
I want to see her in porn, but that's a whole different story for a different day.
But no, I feel bad, for the families of all the victims. I don't know. It, maybe we'll see later on what this person's motive is. From all accounts, it just doesn't look like we may not ever get those answers. And sometimes tragedies happen and you don't know the reason. And you're never going to stop those things from happening. But I can say at 13 rounds, if someone had been armed in the building, there would have been far less rounds shot.
Well, even if somebody armed in the building at 13, though, 13 rounds.
Well, in the theater.
Or in the theater. It still would have been, he still would have got some off. But a lot less, though. And again, we have to remember that in a free society, you just can't stop this thing. You can't preemptively stop these things.
Well, and we've seen with someone who has, we're looking at, no apparent signs of drugs. Obviously, they'll do a toxicology report to see if there was any drugs in his system, but no apparent drug use. Some alcohol, but they're not even saying that it was a large amount where it was a heavy intoxication of alcohol. Someone who had no ties to the community, so this was not someone who was looking for revenge or something. He'd just gotten there a couple weeks ago and seemed to just go from place to place. So, there's nothing that you can say like, oh, this must be it. Maybe he just really didn't like Amy Schumer. I don't know.
Yeah, you never can tell with these things. But
If he turned the gun on himself at the end, which is my understanding as to what happened, he took his own life after he finished firing into the crowd. To me, it seems like this is a case of suicide where he's taking everyone out with him. And there's not necessarily anything you can do for that.
No.
There's no way that you can necessarily predict that. I mean, just like the people who have gone on and done the wrong way driving on the interstate to smash into a vehicle with the intention of killing themselves and taking out someone else with them. I think it's horribly selfish that people who are suicidal will take other lives with them just because they have no value on their own. Mm-hmm. I don't want to insult people who have suicidal thoughts because I've been there myself. I understand how hard life can be and what it can drive you to. It's when you cross that line and are wanting to take other people with you, that's where I have a serious problem. And that's what this looks like. I'm not seeing anything that makes me say that this is anything other than somebody who was out of his mind over this life, wanting to go and take others with him.
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to go to a break?
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So let's take a break real quick, though. When we get back, though, Uber and the war that is going on with Uber. When we get back, we'll talk about Uber. So you're listening to Liberty Underground.
Take
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back, Liberty Underground, 1787 Radio Network. If you'd like to call the program, the number 1-800-525-4032. 1-800-525-4032. Before we get to the Uber thing, I think there were some things you wanted to add to the shooter thing.
Well, I think I kind of made the point I wanted to make. I just didn't expect that I would have the last word on that. Figured you guys had more to say.
How about you? Oh, both of you guys are done with that one? I'm sorry.
It's we went to a break, and I probably would have had things. But now I went to a break.
You broke her thought stream.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
I really had things to say with what Greg said, but now I don't quite remember exactly what he said because we went to a break. And then you said we were going to Uber, so I started reading the Uber stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. My bad.
But yeah, I think he was planning on killing himself the whole time.
Well, this one sounds like a murder-suicide kind of thing. Like, yeah, I'm going to go shoot some people and shoot myself in the head.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, though, because of the low self-esteem, he wanted to kill some others and then shoot himself, because if he just shot himself, nobody would notice.
Right.
So you got to go in there and kill a couple more people. This was the media's fault. We should ban the media.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Just like the Columbine shooting, those kids did that knowing that they would become legends in the media because of it, and that's why they did it. And that could be another reason why this guy did it this way, because he knew that it would become a media spectacle and that his name would be all over the news in his final act. And you know, maybe he had no sense of self-worth, and that this would give him some, that he would have a legacy, whether it's a good one or a bad one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, you got to get bigger than that if you want legend status, though.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that one thing that did happen is while first responders were going to the scene, the Louisiana has parishes, not counties.
Right.
But a parish police force and the local city police force collided with each other on the way.
Like in an accident?
Yeah, like in an accident. Like one was coming across one corner, the other another, whack.
Keystone Cops, boy.
Yeah. So and at least one of the officers was seen taken away in a stretcher. So there you go. Talk about not such
Well,
a
because
great
unintended
Well,
consequences.
it's because of those damn IQ ceilings that they have. That's why they should be going for smarter people.
They actually and it's not in a lot of the news sources, but one of the news sources from the local area in that area was reporting on the police of two different police departments that crashed into each other a couple blocks away from the incident.
Protect and serve.
Yeah.
Yep.
Code 4.
I thought
All
that was
clear.
interesting.
That is actually, that's more funny and sad than interesting, but you
Well,
know.
it is funny. Well, that's why I said interesting and not funny, because I don't know if it's funny that, police officers crash into each other. Like that, it makes me not want to have an actual legitimate emergency in Lafayette, Louisiana, because apparently first responders may not understand where everybody's driving.
Yeah. Well, and they asked Amy Schumer about this too, by the way, because it's her movie that they're. It's not her fault, by the way, but it's her movie that somebody was shot in, and she heart is broken, and all the thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Louisiana.
Like, what else was she gonna say?
Well, no, that's true. It's just I'm glad she didn't have a joke for it though.
I did. I'm morally depraved. I was capable of pulling one out.
Really? All right then.
That's how little he was paying attention in the first segment. He was very focused on something else.
My apologies for that.
All attention was put into one muscle.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely right it was.
But
Sorry about that. That's just the way it is though.
I don't even understand why they actually interview the celebrities from these movies and stuff, because what are they gonna say?
Yeah.
Wish my movie was better and people didn't want to kill each other. I mean, like, what are they going to say?
Yeah, I thought this movie sucked when we released it and people were going to go crazy in the theaters, but I didn't want to say anything.
I mean, that's ridiculous. They had nothing to do with it. I'm sure he didn't say, oh, I have to pick that Amy Schumer movie.
Yeah.
It's probably the one that was playing with the most amount of people, and that's why he chose it. I mean, but I never understand why they do that.
Yeah, well, because it's part of the media circus. Bring more attention, something else to talk about. Keep this story, in everybody's consciousness.
Well, and you got to remember too is that what they're doing now. Look, the new thing though is not that they even go to that person and go get the comment and then bring it back. It's that they're pulling the comment from their social media.
Right.
Like there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to call somebody and be like, well, we want a comment from you. And maybe back in the day, somebody would say, well, I'm not really going to comment on something like that. It's just a sad event. And so normally the media wouldn't even put anything out, at least as far as that person is concerned. But nowadays, and this happens along the media along all the media, which I actually think is a good thing, not a bad thing, by the way. So I'm not trying to diminish this. I'm just saying it's changed, is that now they just go to their Twitter feed or their Facebook feed and see what they wrote. And that's cool because you know what? There's no misconstruing that. That's what they said on their Twitter feed or on their Facebook thing.
Yeah.
So and some of them have to though because there's more people following them than are following their media outlet on some people. So it's good that they do that kind of stuff, but at the same time, it's a change. It's the new media.
Yeah, no, definitely, and but all these celebrities should all say. I mean, they're gonna say, and everyone's gonna say, because what do you say in the wake of such a tragedy? There's nothing you can say except that your thoughts and prayers are with the family. This is a terrible tragedy. I mean, everyone feels it. Everyone everywhere feels that sadness for the families that are going through this. So I don't know. Everyone's saying the same thing. I just don't see why it's even a story what anyone has said, because everybody's thinking the same things.
And that's part of why it may be callous and heartless and people may not like it, but that's why I would rather make a joke and try and find some way to make myself laugh, even if it doesn't make anybody else laugh, because I would rather do that than follow the script, than do what's expected of me, than release the same canned statement that everyone else is putting on their social media. Oh, my heart goes out. Of course my heart goes out to the families. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody murdered while they're trying to enjoy themselves. It should go without saying that I have a problem with this.
Right.
So I'm sorry that I'm not getting on social media and following the script and saying the exact same thing that 350,000 other people are putting out on their social media.
Well, yeah, but conversely, you really don't think Amy Schumer should tell a joke at that time, do you?
I don't think Amy should, but I will.
Yeah, I got you. But I mean, you do recognize the difference between her and you at that point, though.
Absolutely.
It's a movie about her. So.
Well, that's the difference. There are people
If
who...
there's a movie about Greg, you shouldn't tell a joke at that point.
Right.
You know, if they were playing, Greg Bowen, Prime Minister of the Sinister.
If anybody's going to see a movie about me, I've already won the joke. Joke's on you, folks.
That may be a movie so bad people start, shooting.
I actually do want us to make a movie called, Greg Bowen, Prime Minister of the Sinister. It's going to be a mix between He-Man and Flash Gordon.
With a
very old heavy metal soundtrack, though.
I actually have, because, Donald Trump gave out Lindsey Graham's phone number.
Can we call him today?
His
number don't work no more.
He turned it off.
So then Lindsey Graham puts out a video on, how to destroy a cell phone with Lindsey Graham. And most people are making comments like, you just got to go to the store and they just change your number. Like destroying the phone doesn't actually change your number. So I actually had an idea, Alex, that we should actually, how to change your number with the 1787 network.
How to get through the Verizon phone tree to get your number changed.
I mean, you got to give it a little bit for Lindsey Graham for having a good joke about it.
Right.
But if you do want to be able to disarm Trump on something, that was a good way to do it.
That was the way to do it. But it was just, I thought we could do it. And even have, a girl standing at the thing with, a red button-up, collar shirt with, a bedazzled 1787 network on the back.
That's awesome.
And just really have a good time with it. That would be an awesome video.
Oh, yeah.
A bedazzled 1787.
Should get Catherine Zeta-Jones to do it for us. Just mix all the phone carrier, memes into one.
Into one commercial. Yeah. How to change your number with the 1787 network. So
it's not a bad idea.
We may see that video in the future.
Yeah. Speaking of jokes, I got a funny joke for you.
All right.
Well, I have a question. No, it's a joke. Marco Rubio says no one running for president has more experience on relevant issues than he does.
What?
What does he consider relevant issues?
I can see Cuba from my house.
Can you believe that this guy actually said this?
I don't. What arrogance.
I can believe that he said it. I can't believe the content of what he said.
Okay,
yeah,
here we go.
I can believe he said it. I'm a little surprised he didn't laugh afterwards.
But I thoroughly believe that he does have that overdeveloped a sense of self-importance that he would say something like that.
Barack has this is what he says. Barack Obama has failed as president because his ideas don't work. Well, because they're neocon ideas. They wouldn't have worked had he served 50 years in the U.S. Senate, Rubio said. It is true there are people running for president who have lived longer than I have, he added. The world is changing, and no one who is running for president has more experience than I do on the issues confronting our country right now. What in the hell? Hold on here. This is what else he said. The presidency of the United States is a unique office. It's not like being a senator, but it's not like being a governor either, Rubio says. The most fundamental challenge any president will face is the national security challenge. Presidents don't create jobs. They put forth policies that create an environment conducive to job creation. Whoa. I mean, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
I don't know that we have that kind of time to go everything
Well,
over everything that's wrong with
Do you want the
Marco
list?
Rubio.
You
It's
want
like it's like being a neocon is a mental disorder.
What now? You have the former Secretary of State in Hillary Clinton, so she has no experience. You have people that served in Congress like Bernie Sanders, and which I think both of them have. I wouldn't want them in office. And then you have him as a senator. You have several governors. No, and you're saying that none of those people have the experience that you have as a senator.
But you're talking about national security. Now, here's the thing. His big claim to fame here is going to be, I'm better on that. I'm more experienced on national security than everyone else in the field is. But that's so fundamentally a lie. Because in all actuality, if we want to go down his line of thinking, again, this is not my line of thinking, but his line of thinking, the number one person would be Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Well,
with his line of
With
thinking.
his logic, it would be Lindsey Graham.
This is such a lie no matter what. Like, even if you like Marco Rubio, and even if you think that we should be bombing brown people all over the world, like, even if you, even if you believe in the neocon Trotskyite foreign policy, like,
Right.
even if you're basically a communist, Lindsey Graham's still got to be your number one.
Right.
Rubio's got to be your number two, just for the fact that Lindsey Graham has been advocating for the bombing of brown people for far longer
Way
than Marco
longer
Rubio
than Marco
has.
Rubio.
I don't understand how with his resume he can justify that, though. He's only been in the U.S. Senate for 5 years. He was in state government before that. He never dealt with national security issues in the Florida legislature.
Yeah.
He hasn't even finished his full term as a senator. He's not even through his first term.
Yeah. How can he say that? I mean, did his nose grow when he say it? Did lightning strike? I mean, how ridiculous is that statement?
It's too bad that it didn't, because then he'd be dead. God, this guy's such a jerk off. He's just such a jerk off. So sick and tired of the Rube.
Well,
so glad to watch him. I'm so glad to know he's not going to be our senator after 2016.
Well, and he's dropping in the polls, so he has no chance of being president either.
Yeah, and I don't think he can get back in the Senate race either now.
No, I doubt he could at this point. And he's dropped so far in the polls that he may not even be on the debate stage.
Yeah.
He's
right. He's on the line. So,
yeah, but they're going to let him in, though.
No, they're only letting in the top 10.
Yeah, but they'll find a way to include the Rube.
So
He's
you
a
have
neocon.
Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio that are vying for those 9th and 10th positions. So you have 3 people all trying to get 2 positions, and Ted Cruz and Rand Paul are both polling higher than Marco Rubio. Now only by a point, so that could change. But he may cut. He's on that line.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you have 22 candidates for governor in the GOP field.
God, there's a lot of them.
Exactly.
I think there's more than 22 at this point, because 22 is the last count I had, and you just had Kasich and a couple other people get in the race.
Because you're counting like all the ones, even the people that the TV doesn't talk about.
Right, even the ones, the people that are actually in the race. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody's talking about them, but there are actually 22 people in the race.
Yeah.
So which is bigger, the GOP presidential field or the Duggar family?
I think that now the GOP field's got him beat, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, pretty man.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. Like, maybe there should be a Duggar quota.
It's the GOP clown car.
Well, it's definitely a clown car.
Well, yeah.
Right now, the head clown's driving it, though. I mean, it's kind of funny to watch the head clown driving it. Former Democrat as of 6 years or 7 years ago.
Okay, so I'm going to count them right now. We got 1, 2.
Well, name them. Name them as you count
Okay,
'em.
so you got Skip Andrews. Well, someone's got to count, so I can...
Hold on. Skip Andrews, I'm counting. So Skip is
Right.
1.
George Bailey,
That's 2.
Michael Bickelmeyer,
That's Surrey and funny.
Carrie Bowers,
That's 4.
Jeb Bush,
That's 5.
Ben Carson,
That's 6.
Dale Christensen,
That's 7.
Chris Christie,
That's 8.
Ted Cruz,
That's 9.
Brooks Cullison,
Big 10 for the Cullison.
John Dummett Jr.,
Don't call me names.
Mark Everson,
Okay. What? Okay.
Jack Fellier.
Hold on, Jack Bellier?
Fellier. I'm
Fellier?
going in alphabetical order.
All right. Then.
Carly Fiorino.
All right.
Lindsey Graham.
All right.
Jim Hayden.
Big Jim Hayden's running. Oh, I know. I know my vote's going.
Chris Hill.
Chris Hill. Is he related to Cypress though?
No. Mike Huckabee.
Huckabee.
Bobby Jindal.
Jindal.
John-
Hey, hold on. My Jindal. You ever met a guy that looks that dark that sounds that country?
Well, he's from Louisiana.
I'm just saying though, like honestly, and I'm not trying to be racist or nothing, but like that dude looks like he should have more of an Indian accent than has a Louisiana accent.
Well, he is from Indian descent.
Well, it's actually funny that on this season's Big Brother, there's a guy that's on the show that's of Asian bloodline, but was adopted by a family in Texas. So he has a Southern
Like a real
accent.
Southern Texas.
Like he
There used to be a comedian like that.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
All
I
right.
can't
Did
remember
I
the
say
name.
John Kasich?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
So we get Kasich. Kasich's rounding out the 20.
Yeah. Michael Kinlow.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Kinwell running. Oh boy, I got decisions to make.
K. Ross Newland.
I don't like her.
It's a man.
I don't like him. Either.
George Pataki.
Ow.
Rand-
I'm surprised Pataki doesn't get more play.
Yeah, I know. Rand Paul.
Surprised Rand doesn't get more play.
I know why he doesn't get more play.
Rick Perry.
Perry, the worst logo of the campaign.
Michael Petio.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Marco Rubio.
The Rube.
Brian Russell.
Brian Russell. All right.
Rick Santorum.
Ugh.
Jefferson Sherman.
All right.
Shauna Sterling.
Cheap and heady.
Donald Trump.
Trump.
Scott Walker.
And those are all just GOP, right?
Those are all declared presidential candidates in the GOP. Now there's
33, by the way.
Hold on. There's 2 more possible candidates that have filed an exploratory committee, but that have not announced, and that would be Bob Ehrlich and Jim Gilmore. So there could be 2 more.
So 35 total up to the exploratory phase, 33 that have gone the next step and filed.
Yes.
Wow.
So when all of your mainstream media is like, well, there's 17 candidates in the race, you're not even half seriously.
And so what about Democrats? I mean, we talk about Hillary and Bernie.
All right. Well, I got it. That's going to be on a different screen.
Okay. Well, we can stall for a minute while you pull that up. But I think it's interesting because everybody talks about Hillary and Bernie, but I wonder, do we have the same case on that side where there's a lot of candidates that have filed that we're not hearing about?
Not as much, but I think if you look at the percentage of how many that you're hearing about versus how many you're not hearing about, you might actually be more Democrats than less Democrats as a percentage.
Let's count the Democrats. Howell Astor.
Oh, Big Howell.
Morrison Bonpassy.
Whoa, I don't know. I don't like that person.
Jeff Boss.
Oh, hold on a second. Hey, we got to find some Jeff Boss gear.
All right.
We got to find some Jeff Boss gear.
Harry Braun.
All right, Harry Braun.
Andy Caffrey.
That's top 5.
Willie Carter.
Willie.
Lincoln Chafee.
I think I know who that is.
Hillary Clinton.
Meh.
Lloyd Kelso.
Kelso's running. Burn!
Martin O'Malley.
O'Malley.
Bernie Sanders.
Big Bernie.
Doug Scheffler.
Scheffler?
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Mm-hmm.
Michael Steinberg.
Jim Webb.
Robbie Wells.
Robbie Wells is running as a Democrat now?
Yeah, we knew that already.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Willie Wilson.
And
Brad Winslow.
All right, Greg. So you got 5, 10, 15, 17 people running on the Democrat side.
17 Democrats, 33 Republicans. That's a total of 50 candidates.
Yes. And there's 2 potential Democrat candidates, and that's Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren.
Well, problem there, though, is we know Warren's not running.
And I don't think Joe Biden's going to run either.
I think Joe Biden will run. I don't think he's going to put in a winning campaign, though.
Right.
I don't think he's going to put in an effort as hard as some of the other candidates are. Because I think we've talked about this before. It's Hillary's turn. You know, I think that part of the reason she bowed out in the last one and endorsed Barack and accepted Secretary of State was, next time it's your turn.
Yeah. So no, there's so many more candidates that the news media is not talking about, and I'm looking at some of the pictures and I can tell you why they're not talking about them. But for the most part, they don't look crazy.
Well, there's a couple on there that have been politicians before, but and some of them are not really Democrats. They're just going over there.
Well, yeah.
Which you have a little bit of that in the Democrats, but they have such a better way of handling that than the Republicans do, obviously. Which is just to completely ignore them, where the Republicans will.
Yeah, the thing is,
not necessarily do that.
Is besides Martin O'Malley, Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Clinton, you had no idea any of these other people existed.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Robbie Wells, but I mean, I forgot he was running as a Dem again.
Yeah. Well, that's because I take no interest in Robbie Wells whatsoever. Even though we've met him several times.
You ain't kidding about you taking no interest in Robbie Wells. Hold on. Tell the story. Actually, before we go any further, I want you to tell the Robbie Wells story, just to show you how much Danielle can. Look, I want to say this as a term of endearment. But it's Danielle's ability to be a bitch when you need to be, like when you should be one, that is classic. Let me just start off with saying that.
So we're in Atlanta, and we're there. We were invited for this big music fest that they were having. There was lots of speakers and stuff.
Like a political music fest.
Like a political music fest. So we were invited. There was a lot of our friends going. They gave us free tickets. Come on up. We'll let you have room on our table for your book and everything else. So we go, and we were there to see Rebel Inc. and Jordan Page was there, and a bunch of people. Now I hung out there. There's the theater where everyone was speaking and where all the bands played. I never actually went in there. I stayed on the outside where all the booths were. So there was people talking up on stage. I had no idea who they were. I didn't care. It wasn't why I was there. Now, Robbie Wells is someone who we actually had contacted a while back because he had said something that was interesting, and we were going to give him airtime on the show. We emailed him. He didn't email back. We were like, no big deal. He's not that important anyways. Didn't really worry about it. Now, you seen him in the green room, and he was like, oh, yeah, he was nice to you.
Yeah. He was. Well, I don't think you. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember my part of the story more than I remember your part of the story now.
Because everyone talked about my part.
But
afterwards.
I don't think that he was. I don't think that he was. He wasn't mean. He wasn't nice. He was just whatever.
Just whatever. And you had come over and told me, and I honestly didn't. I was like, oh, okay, Well, me and Brian, one of the guys from Rebel Inc., decide later on that we're starving, and there's a little pizza place down the road. So we go and have pizza. Well, we were going to order it and bring it back and have it with everybody else. So we're sitting there waiting for the pizza, and this big guy comes in with like an entourage. And
yeah, he was rolling deep.
Yeah, so he's got like 3 other, suited, big-looking men with him, and,
Look, and here's another thing. Hold on, let me before you keep going, I do want to interrupt with something here. If you're going to walk around with an entourage, and the reason that you're doing it is because you're afraid the government's going to try to go out there and kill you, I should at least know who you are ahead of time.
Right.
Like, the fact that I don't know who you are ahead of time also means that the police and the FBI and stuff, they're not coming to kill you. Like, nobody's coming to kill you, dude. You pose 0 risk. So let's get that out of the way right now. Serial, how in the hell are you even have people following you around? Go ahead.
So he goes into the bathroom and he comes down. Me and Brian are just sitting there and he's waiting for his entourage. I don't know what they were doing. I don't care. And me and Brian are talking like we're in a conversation. We live in different states. We don't get to see each other a lot, so we're catching up. And he comes over and as we're talking says, "So did you guys get hear my speech?" And I look up and I'm annoyed. Because I don't like when people interrupt your conversation unless you're bringing me food. Like, if you're not working at the restaurant, you have no business to come up and talk to me. So I'm like, I have no idea. Who are you? I don't even know who you are. What speech? And he's like, I'm Robbie Wells. And I'm like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Okay, you're Robbie Wells. And I'm like, oh, I think I do know that name. I think we emailed you one time to be on the show and you never responded. And he's like, oh, no, I responded to Alex. Maybe that's why you didn't get it. And I'm like, yeah, I've been getting his emails for the last year and you didn't. So, is there something else that you wanted here? Because we're kind of talking.
Classic, by the way.
Love it.
And he's like, no, I guess that's it. Like, enjoy your pizza. And he walked away. And Brian is like, I love you.
It was classic, by the way. You know what?
I love this story every time I hear it, by the way.
I think the funniest part about it is that this guy really was expecting someone to fawn over. I don't fawn over people just because they're deciding to run for a position. That honestly, I get mad at people for the most part that are running for president. Like most people, I don't want you. You should not be running for president because you don't have the experience. Like, you don't legitimately have the experience to run for president. Like, even if you look at the GOP in the dim field, there might be 5 guys on each side that legitimately could be running for president, and 5 guys are girls.
Right.
Guys are girls.
Right.
But there's only 5 of them. The rest of them have already disqualified themselves in one way, shape, manner, or form anyway. And my 5 might even be, like, I'd put Jeb in the 5, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's qualified.
I wouldn't put the Rube there, the little boy that he is, little boy chick. But
yeah, so that's the Robbie Wells story. I really was so unimpressed with him, and just I don't like if you come over and it wasn't like, hey, how are you? I'm Robbie Wells. I'm running for president. I'd like to talk to you. No, it was just like, did you hear my speech? I don't know. Who are you?
Yeah. Making assumptions like that will really make you look stupid in some places. Because not everybody was going to react the way Danielle reacts on these things, but the odds of somebody going, well, what were you talking about? Like, are pretty good because there wasn't that many people in the room.
Right.
And the guy's speech wasn't even that good, to be honest with you. It just wasn't. And again, this guy, he's almost like a used car salesman. And again, I don't want to insult used car salesman, but like he was really he used to be a Constitution Party guy. I don't know if you remember this or not.
Oh my goodness.
That's where he used to be, though. That's where I first met Robbie Wells, was in Ocala at a thing Bernie DeCastro was putting on.
Tells you everything you need to know about him, I think.
Yeah. Well, look, no. I like Bernie.
Well,
I'd feel better about voting for Bernie for president than I would about this guy.
But it was just, and it was very arrogant the way he did things, and like, well, I'm running for president, so you must know who I am. And no, like, I don't care. Like, I'm here because I'm catching up with friends. Like, I wasn't even there because of the music fest. We were there because we knew there was going to be a lot of people there. We'd have ways to sell the book and other things that we were doing. And we could see our friends who we don't get to see very often. So it was like a win-win, but I could care less about who was on the stage. I wasn't there for that.
Yeah. She wasn't fanboying these people. At all.
The funny thing is, I think like all 3 of us are a group of people that are very unimpressed by celebrity status or any of that. Just because you're running for office doesn't mean a damn thing to us. And like you said, I'm more with you on, oh, you're running for office. I'm more likely to be upset with you for that than like be impressed and start fawning all over you, especially if you're going for high office. Like, if you have never run for office before and you want to come over and get my support to run for president or senate or something like that, and you're telling me how awesome you are, more than likely I'm going to question your credentials and question the fact that you're shooting for the moon immediately when nobody knows who you are.
And this is a funny story. And I've known Adam Kokesh for a long time. We've texted back and forth for a long time. We hadn't met in person. We just texted back and forth over different projects, and that was fine and cool. And then we finally meet in person. We're hanging out. We're talking and everything. And at the end, he goes, "Do you want a picture?" And I go, "A picture of what?" And I'm like, "Oh, you mean with you? I mean, I guess if you want to."
Oh, what? You want a picture with me?
Picture of what?
Yeah.
You should have offered to sign it for him.
And every time I see him, he now brings that up. He's like, I won't ask you for a picture.
Well, I think the part there that's really funny though is the point you got. Well, hold on. The point you guys were making in the beginning, which was, we're not impressed with this. We're not fanboys on this stuff. We have a way different criteria for the people that we really like, though.
Yeah.
Like, there is a criteria. I mean, there are some people we'll fanboy out for.
Mm-hmm.
Even Greg has some people he'll somewhat fanboy out for in his own way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a very interesting criteria of what you need to be in order to get to Greg fanboy.
And politics is not one of them.
No, I would
With the
totally.
hold on, let me give
Penn
you.
Jillette, I would totally fan out for.
Well, but not because of his politics. I've loved Penn Jillette as a magician for
I have.
decades, and I would totally geek out on that. If I got to meet Penn Jillette, I would probably talk to him more about the things that he's done on his YouTube channel and their old show on Showtime, Bullshit,
yeah.
and the new show that he's doing with Penn and Teller Fool Us.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome. It's a great show if you haven't got to see it. I would talk with him more about that than politics.
But I love the
boss.
way.
He
Yeah,
is.
I love the way he gives the libertarian message out. So he is one. He is one of those famous libertarians that I would be like, oh my God, it's Penn Jillette.
Right. But see, that's why I wouldn't talk to him about politics, because he does a great job articulating the message every single time.
Yeah.
I have no disagreements with him that I would have to argue with him. I might tell him how highly I think of him in that regard, and that's it. I wouldn't really need to, because he articulates it so well. I don't need him to expound on this further and clarify his position. I know his position. So I wouldn't have to ask him
Yeah.
that. I don't really want to argue with him on anything. I would commend him and probably go on to talk about, can you do a magic trick for me or something like that? Can you make something disappear?
Who would you?
I definitely want to meet Penn Jillette.
Yeah, me
I would
too.
love to meet him, but
Honestly,
I
I wish he was the head of the LNC.
He's too smart to take it.
He is too smart to take it.
He is far too good at. Look, this latest thing with Trump only cements how good he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, class. He is such a class act, and that proves
Did you
it.
see the interview that he had that he did on Opie and Anthony about?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Such
yeah.
a class act.
Unbelievable.
I mean, whereas Donald Trump is insulting him, he is singing
Over and over again.
Yeah. Trump just excoriated him, and Gillette's singing his praises.
He's like, look, he's like, personally, I like the guy. Here's the thing, though. I just happen to think he's wrong and the wrong person for the
Yeah.
job. Like, look, Penn Jillette went about it in the best way possible that you could go about it.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I really like Penn Jillette. And the other person that we did end up meeting, and the first time I met him, I was a little like, oh my God, it was Ben Swan.
Yeah. I like Ben too, though. I don't think I would. Well, I'd probably fanboy a little bit on Ben.
First time we met him.
My thing with Ben
I was
is
too
he's
busy
like
on the other one.
he's like on the short list of guys that I would go gay for, because he's like so hot.
And when you meet him, don't you expect when you meet
He's
someone
on my
in,
short list.
don't you expect when you meet someone in person, like it's gonna go down a little, like you're gonna be like, wow, you're not as good looking as they make you on TV.
Right.
He is better looking in person.
Absolutely. You're like, oh, you're on TV. You've got a makeup crew. You've got
Yeah.
lighting. Of course you look awesome.
None of it's needed.
No, he'd probably look better without it.
And that's what I always want to tell him, like, listen, you're so much prettier without any of that stuff. You should just go like this.
You know what, though? Look, I gotta tell you, though, like, I still wouldn't fight him.
No.
I still think the guy could throw a little hands.
Oh, I bet you could.
Oh, I wouldn't fight him just because it's like I can't destroy a masterpiece like that. I would not want to punch him in the face because I don't want to mess it up. You're too pretty, and I would hate to do that.
I still think he might throw some hands, though.
He might.
It'd be like, do you want to be the person who like graffitis the Mona Lisa? No, you don't want to be that guy. I would not do that to Ben Swan.
Oh, by the way, and I know this isn't up there, and we didn't get into the Uber or the GMO labeling, 9:55. I do want to mention something else. So I want to give kudos to actually Adam Kokesh.
Oh, for what's been going on lately?
Yeah, we got to give this guy kudos.
Yeah, I would say so.
He's going around the entire country doing this tour.
Giving away his book.
Yeah, giving away his book. Even paper copies of it he's giving away. And he was in New York, and I'm sure he said something that could be construed as anti-military. And so what happened is this big guy
Former military.
From a military guy, went down and was getting ready to fight Adam Kokesh.
Oh, he was mad.
He was mad. He was ready to fight him, ready to take him outside, ready to fight him. Which I still think, even as big as that guy was, I think Adam would have actually won, because I know that, Adam's in shape as well. And so this guy, and basically is threatening to fight him. And to watch a dude, and that dude was way ready to fight too, by the way. Like, I can't believe that Kokesh was able to just have a civil discussion with this guy and get him to not only calm down, but to actually see his point of view, and where they left on good terms and it was all over with.
He took a copy of the book.
Yeah, but he gave it to him. He gave it away for free.
Well, he's giving it away to everybody.
But to watch him not only, like, I don't know what the word for it is.
He was able to disarm this guy. This guy was mad. He was ready to throw down at any second.
Yeah.
And to watch Adam Kokesh stay absolutely even-keeled, not raise his voice at all, just stay absolutely calm, as this guy is really in his face mad.
Yeah.
And for him to just be talking about, let's have, non-violent solutions to these things, and really start going down and talking about the principle of non-aggression and non-violence, and get this guy to the point where he was ready, you're against the military and I'm going to punch you in the face, to go, well, yeah, I mean, I feel like I was lied to when I went in there, too. So I do understand your point. And completely de-escalate the situation to where when Adam Kokesh says, listen, take a copy of my book. You may not like everything I say, but I want you to have it. I think we have an understanding here. And all of a sudden the guy's like, yeah, you're a good guy. Took the book. I'm going to read this. Went from, I'm going to choke you to death.
To, I'm going to read your book.
To, I'm going to read your book. Thanks, brother. You're a good dude.
Well, look, and I think that the biggest key to that is the biggest key. One, Adam Kokesh really does deserve very much so to be congratulated for that. That his ability to be able to do that, and the fact that it was filmed,
Right.
like that video right there is almost a transcript of how to deal with as an activist, for Pete's sake. Like, and it's almost there's nobody that would have been madder. Like, minus somebody just walking up and punching you in the face, which at that point a conversation isn't really going to happen. You know what I mean? The fact that this guy even was only one step away from that, stopped, and Adam was able not only to talk him down, but was able to get him to see where he was going.
Right.
And what happened was you could see the guy going, look, I want to fight this guy, but I don't think what I was being told was necessarily accurate. So, you're not actually picking on the people there. It's more of the policy and the system, right? And then, Kokesh is like, yeah. I mean, that's what's going on. Which, he got to that. But just to watch that happen, man, that is pretty damn cool, man.
No,
It's like watching the birth of a new life.
And I really have to give Adam a lot of credit for that. And the one thing that Adam says is that when he was in jail, he's in federal prison with a lot of people. And he was able to really talk to a lot of them about being able to solve these issues non-violently with non-aggression. And that is the one thing where I think as an activist he excels at. There's a lot of things that he's done in the past to be provocative, but I think he's really kind of taken on a path of I just want to sell non-aggression and non-violence to the people, and that we can do these things working together in a voluntary manner. And I think he absolutely excels at that, and I think that's a good fit for him as an activist and as a person.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I amazing. Honestly, it earned a lot of the cred that he gets with that part alone. Really does.
For Adam Kokesh.
And I ain't gonna fanboy on the guy.
Applause.
No. All right, man. Well, let's take a break. You know, we're top of the hour. We'll take a break, and when we get back, more madness from the Liberty Underground show. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or TackleMyTicket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit TackleMyTicket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at TackleMyTicket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know, Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground 1787 Radio Network. Hopefully everybody enjoyed hour number one. A little bit off base of what we were going to be talking about. However, since you didn't know what we were going to be talking about, how would you have known that unless I just told you?
Right. So you actually didn't have to say anything, and no one would have known that we were off of our schedule.
Sorry about that. Well, sorry for telling you. I shouldn't have told you. I'm transparent, baby. I'm transparent, man. That's what I'm doing. I'm all about transparency here. I did take a photograph of you last night, by the way, Danielle.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
And
I
it
put
so
a post
far,
up about you last
I
night.
know. I saw that.
So far has gotten 28.
Oh, very nice. That was
I actually
really
thought it was a
good.
good picture, too. Especially because I did the picture like this. Like I put my hand up and did it.
Oh, yeah, so you could get, like...
Yeah. But you can also see my fingers in the picture, though.
Oh.
I didn't realize that part. It did well, though. It did
You know
well.
what happens is I'm so short that if you don't put the camera way up, you will only see the people in the crowd because my head will barely come over. Even though I'm standing
I
there
wasn't
sitting.
going to make the short joke that was
That's okay.
obvious.
You can. I'll do it.
But so it was funny though at the same time though. It was actually like I did like, man, I can't see her from here, man. Come on. And I was telling that to myself too, like, well, I can't see her from here. I gotta. All right, let me see if I can lift up. All right, let me look at it. Let me look at it. Let me look at it. Okay, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, because last night I gave the legislative process class to the Libertarian Party of Pinellas, and I downloaded a ton of information into these people's heads in a very short amount of time.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I talk fast normally, but I actually have to talk faster when I'm giving this class because I know I don't want to keep you there for hours on end. And so I talk very, very fast, and I go, any questions? And everyone just has that blank stare like, I'm still trying to process the first step.
I'm still trying to figure out what happened to the first mouse.
Yes, a man that does not talk fast, though, very good friend of the program, Brandon Jones. Brandon, how are you doing, sir? Brandon is with the Global Dispatch. So, Brandon, how are you doing, sir?
I'm just doing well, trying to enjoy the soggy and blustery morning here in Florida, but yeah, making the best of it. And I would have to say, if you ask people when I get a chance to preach, that I do talk rather fast. So there's some folks who may disagree with you on that assessment.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to. You know what? I'm gonna have to have it out with those people then, if that's what the case. Because I'm gonna defend you, Brandon, on that one.
You'll have to come out and hear one of my sermons.
I will have to come out and hear one of your sermons. All right. So, Brandon, in the Global Dispatch world, there is a lot going on this week. Where do you want to start?
Well, since we're all probably out of breath trying to name all the GOP candidates, we can go wherever you like.
33 of them, Brandon. There's 33.
I don't even acknowledge that there's 33. It's just laughable. I mean, it's just silly. I mean, once you get to like Jim Gilmore, just like hit delete, just start purging a bunch of them out. It's crazy. So, I mean, do you want me to run down the list of where we are on some of that?
Sure.
I think the lock is there's probably about 8 that are probably locked in, and that's, Trump, Bush, Walker, Rubio, Paul Cruz, Carson, and Huckabee, and I'm still shocked at a couple of those names, but that does appear to be where we are. I think on the outside, that's where you have Perry, Christie, Jindal, and somehow Santorum. I really don't understand that either. And then there's a lot that are fading. Like Graham's really not on the radar screen anymore. Fiorino can't seem to get into the mix really. And then I think Kasich may be too new. I mean, we're not, I can't really kind of pass an opinion on a lot of the polls. Really aren't new enough to include if he's really going to make make the top 10 or not. But at least for now, no. So that's kind of where we are. I mean, I don't think it really shouldn't surprise. I think most people when we talk about 10. That's where we are. 10's still a lot. I mean, that's still crazy number to think we're going to whittle down to 10 like this is somehow some sort of knockoff the NCAA tournament.
It would be funny to watch a knockoff on they really should do brackets at this point.
I did say in the beginning when a bunch of people started getting in is that we should do NCAA brackets. With 33, we're totally set up for that.
I would prefer.
I think what we should do. Well, we don't really care, but if the Republicans, if they were practical, you would set up a series of, let's say, 10 to 15 questions, and then they all have to film their response, and then people can vote accordingly on that. They have like a poll they have to respond on Fox or whatever, and then based on that top 10 or top 18, and then you can go to your whittle down process or something like that. But right now, it's just going to continue to be a free-for-all with names coming out of the woodwork and probably 2 or 3 more people that might even declare. It's crazy.
Well, I think for the debate, though, I think they're going to have to find a way to bring Fiorino in and Carson in only because they want those 2 people in there because it represents a woman and a black guy.
Well, but then you're going to have Jindal in because he's of Indian descent.
Well, you only need to bring one, though. Like, one can cover you.
You just need your token.
You just need your token. So, I think that's what they're going to try to do. However, on the front of the Global Dispatch does talk about how Trump's visit to the border and how Trump's going to win the Hispanic vote, and he does correctly so hit Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, he doesn't care for the media. I mean, I love that he just loves going on all of these shows, and he's on like a perpetual. He doesn't really campaign for office. It's more he just kind of keeps going on shows. I love his approach. the sideshow circus continues. He goes to the border, kind of creates chaos. They have to shut down one of the centers to accommodate him and security and the entourage and all that. And I love that he says, I'm going to get all these Hispanic voters. And some of them used to work for me. I mean, he's still just very insensitive, and there's not even like a political thread to his approach in all of this. And I think that, I was asked again yesterday in an interview, why is this resonating? Why is he in the top if he's so bad and it's whatever? And I said, well, because he really doesn't care, and he has a fearlessness that is saying what a lot of people feel. So it really doesn't matter if he's electable to them. If he can keep marching him out there, and he's constantly bringing up topics that they want to address. They constantly are forcing other candidates to start saying, listen, this stuff is important to us. That's why we're, supporting Trump at least even a little bit. The problem is there's still a lot of that mainstream party candidates that are still kind of just riding the wave. And unless that changes, I can't see the overall candidate changing.
Well, no, and look, you're right about one of his appeals, and let's talk about it in a positive way. One of his appeals is he is very in what he says, and that he will just say whatever he wants to say. When he goes up there on a stump speech, look, most of the candidates, when they go up there, they say nothing. Like, they're talking the whole time, and they're saying nothing. Trump is kind of doing that, but the stuff he talks about is different than what the other candidates would talk about, and I think that people do find that somewhat refreshing. But they're like, well,
It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter to the audiences if it's even possible. He can talk about things that the president has no authority over. He can talk about things that he can never get the American people to go on board with. It really doesn't matter. It's if it strikes an emotional response, and this is very similar to Barack Obama's approach in a lot of ways if you really analyze it. And of course, Barack Obama overcame that, especially in his second term now, through executive order. So, I don't know if we can really view Trump as a legitimate candidate in any way, shape, or form, but that's why he's still at the top. He's definitely at the top of, 2/3 of all the polls that we looked at over the last couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, also, you do have some articles up as it relates towards the Iran deal. And
yes.
And so this one is something that, because Kerry went up there and he did address Congress, and Rubio and Paul kind of gave him a what for on this. And I'm in such a dilemma. I wouldn't say a dilemma on this, but I think the point is I'm sure that it wasn't negotiated well. Like, the deal itself wasn't negotiated well, but it seems like it was negotiated well enough for me. Like, I almost feel like, okay, as long as you start removing the sanctions, which is what I actually would want, I find it to be okay, at least okay enough, even though I realize that they really didn't get anything near what they wanted. And I do think the massive problem that I have with the whole deal is the fact that the hostages, or the people that are in jail, the Americans that are in captive over in Iran, haven't been released. Like, if there was one mistake they made, that was the mistake that they made. But I think the funny part is, not funny, when you hear the reaction in the media, they're trying to almost equate Iran to ISIS, and in a weird way, without saying it directly because it would be a lie, is how somehow Iran's responsible for ISIS when Iran hates ISIS. Like, Iran and ISIS they're fighting each other anyway, though. Iran's over in Iraq helping fight ISIS. So, like, if ISIS is the biggest threat and Iran is fighting ISIS, then how is Iran really the biggest threat then? Because they're actually fighting the actual big threat that everybody will talk about if they're not talking about Iran.
Well, and I don't know that we can compare ISIS to Iran. ISIS is still just not geographically secured like Iran is an actual nation. And I think that when you have, within a couple of days after the deal is signed, you still have the Ayatollah rallying the citizens to death to America and death to Israel chants, that whatever the deal is, that is how they're responding to it, and that may not be in our best interest. And I think that when we now find out that the IAEA has carve-out secret deals with Iran, it starts to make you question whether this whole concept of inspections and reduction of their scientific technology and things of that nature are actually legitimate or not. And I think that's where Kerry is really not even gone before Congress. He's really not even going on a PR campaign about how great the deal is now. He's actually kind of reversed course, and his tone now is more of, we kind of have to go through with this because the United Nations have already approved it, so therefore we're just going to lose face. They're going to go ahead and do the sanction situation anyway, so for us as America, we just kind of got to go along with it. And I think that's where the Republicans are now. They have a lot of ammunition to go, so we shouldn't have done it that way. But the Obama administration doesn't care. The Obama administration is going to do whatever they want to do. There's no recourse for them. Their supporters completely care less about the Iranians. When you start to survey them, we've talked to some of them. I know I've talked to a couple personally that I know are probably more Bernie Sanders socialist left than even President Obama. They absolutely could care less about this situation. They absolutely could care less about the political baggage, the political implications of the Iranian deal.
Yeah, no, that's true. Now, also, speaking of things that happened in the Congress, is that you did have Rand Paul that did put out the thing about, no more tax dollars to Planned Parenthood, trying to I wouldn't say differentiate himself, but to appeal to a certain base of people. Going after Planned Parenthood is a way to try to enamor some people over to him, and he's now done that. Not that we think Planned Parenthood should get any money, because I don't think Planned Parenthood should get any taxpayer dollars.
The organization should.
I do think that one of the funnier responses that I thought I heard, and I'm almost positive it was Paul that said it, was that he was talking about how this is already happening through some other government agency, like a local health clinics and stuff like that, is taking care of it, almost like that was the positive out of it. Like, well, at least the local healthcare clinics are taking that.
The community health centers.
Yeah, the community health centers are, which are all, government funded. So it was funny that he's using that as a way to try to diminish Planned Parenthood, which, if you would argue as to who gets more taxpayer dollars, or as a percentage who gets more taxpayer dollars, the community health centers absolutely get more taxpayer dollars than Planned Parenthood gets. Planned Parenthood is more of a private than a public one, even though they do get a lot of taxpayer dollars. But I do find it funny that was one of his excuses.
Well, I think that he's definitely trying to kind of keep some sort of relationship and appeal to an evangelical vote. Obviously, Bobby Jindal led the way and was the first one to sort of respond very assertively against the Planned Parenthood news and the videos that had come out. And I think that you still have 3 or 4 of them that have kind of tried to all kind of jockey away, because they know that Huckabee had success in Iowa and got off to a good start a few years back by tapping into that. But the problem now, you have 3 or 4 of them that are doing that, and it doesn't seem to really kind of show a lot of leverage. It might be able to get them into the top 10, but that's, I think, all they really care about right now. I don't think any of them are going to be able to pull the political numbers it'll take to defund or cut out Planned Parenthood. There's just way too much political baggage and PR. The media will crucify whoever tries to go after this organization because of how you can manipulate the data or manipulate the number of procedures they do, things like that. The reality is, however Planned Parenthood comes out on the other side of this video, because right now they're not really being cooperative. They're kind of shielding the doctor. They're kind of told Congress that she's not going to go. They'll send someone else. They're questioning, how embedded these videographers were, how much data they have, because they know if they actually film procedure. So there's still a lot more that will unravel for this. Paul, we've talked about him many, many times. He doesn't seem to know exactly how to navigate the different sort of pockets of voters without alienate the other pockets of voters. And this is another chance where, he can sound as though he's appealing to evangelicals, but for others that are digging through it, like you're saying, you're not really making a lot of sense when it comes to finances and talking about cutting taxpayer funding, because that's completely contradictory.
Yeah, a lot of people on the Paul front on this one, a lot of people have said that, this guy is smarter than his dad and is going about things in a much smarter way than his dad did. And at this, I really don't understand how that still is a sound comment. It just doesn't seem to me at this point to be a sound comment. I think that his dad ran a much smarter campaign because he was so consistently sticking to his principles. And at this point, because of, I think his dad would have more support from everybody at this point than he would, even with sticking to his principles. That more of those people that were possibly coming over to Ron or to the libertarian way of thinking would have been more apt to be supportive of his dad, to where his dad would be pulling a bigger percentage than he would right now. But I think it's because also that Rand decided to, quote unquote, play the game, that it's actually cost him, not helped him in running for president.
Well, definitely, obviously, within libertarian circles, obviously that couldn't be more true. He's really alienated and separated himself and garnered a big push away. Where Ron Paul would siphon off votes from a libertarian candidate, Rand is really not garnering that and definitely not securing that. Now, I think he's played the game enough. I mean, I mentioned where he kind of stands in the grand scheme of things. He'll make a stage. He'll have his opportunities. He's really still going to have a struggle. He's not going to come across as the way Ron would come across on foreign policy, but right now you're going to be surrounded by a lot of very neoconservative perceptions and plans, from the folks that are going to be on stage with him. And I'm not sure how he's going to overcome that and not sound. He's not going to sound divisive to the Republican voters that he's supposed to be trying to reach out to. And so he's still got a long road to sow because he's really kind of only in the middle of the pack. He's probably losing ground, not gaining ground. The Iranian deal and some of that stuff he did, I don't think he really garnered any major support or pushes. I mean, obviously Scott Walker leapfrogged for the top of that list and the top of the tier. The Trump machinery is taking up and consuming, all of the headlines, all of the shows and that kind of thing. So when you come to, 4 or 5 or 6 of these candidates, they're really kind of enigmatic. They're not making any real headlines.
Yeah. No. Trump is sucking all of the air out of the room.
Oh, he absolutely is. And I just feel like I think that even the average voter that, isn't necessarily libertarian, you're almost confused at Rand Paul's stance on things because we need to cut back funding, but then supports, another organization that gets 100% of their funding from the government. So it just doesn't seem like he's consistent. It seems like every move he makes panders to one segment, but doesn't really stay consistent with his message. So I think his message is confusing for the voter.
Yeah.
I think whenever you talk about the health clinics, and I would have to read the quote that you guys are referring to. I don't have that in front of me to make sure, because if you're talking about the quality of having these procedures done in a health clinic versus Planned Parenthood, he may be trying to say because it is regulated, it has been, monitored, it's being, audited and those kinds of things. The video and Planned Parenthood's track record over the last couple of years and the way they have pushed back against even simple expectations, simple state laws and state guidelines of, your doctor needs to have emergency access at a hospital and some of these things. He may be trying to go at it from that angle. But again, if your message isn't clear, it doesn't do you any good because you're not judged on intentions, you're only judged on results.
Yeah. No, and as you should be judged on results and not on intentions. I mean, one of the biggest problems I think we have right now is that we've spent way too many time as a country judging people on their intentions instead of judging people on their results. But, Brandon, what else is going on out there that you thought was a big story that really kind of, is kind of hitting by the wayside?
Well, I think it's kind of weird that in 1 week's time we had 2 separate things that dealt with global warming again, where in one case they were trying to equate O'Malley goes on record. He's equating and taking the line that ISIS is partially formed or gaining strength because of global warming. And then, of course, the Pope makes a similar sort of assertion linking global warming to human trafficking. Now, before you kind of keep scratching your head or trying to apply duct tape for your head to explode, you have to go on the understanding the new spin on climate change, they don't use the terms global warming, even though that's what they're saying, is that because of that, because it has desolated these areas, it's become so impoverished, they can't even grow their own food, they can't do whatever, they're devastated by natural disasters, whatever. That therefore puts them into this vulnerable state where they could become more brainwashed and become part of ISIS, or in the Pope's thing, they become more vulnerable to human trafficking rings and those kinds of things. So talk about a kind of a bizarre week to have a topic like this kind of drop 2 big stories into our laps.
Well, there was some other woman in Congress who had basically said that because of climate change, women in America were going to become prostitutes.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the dumbest comments ever. And look, the length that these people will go on the climate change stuff really is utterly pathetic. There's no getting around the pathetic nature of it. To blame global warming or to blame global warming for ISIS, like the formation of ISIS, that's the problem. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't understand how they even get there, but they are getting there now. And hold on, there's one other parallel between ISIS and Democrats that I want to make right now. Because these are the only two groupings of people.
I'm sorry. Let me just say that this moment of the show will be sponsored by Donald Trump running for office in 2016.
Hold on. You actually might even agree with me after I say this part, though. Is that only ISIS and Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, but only ISIS and Democrats are really wanting to get rid of every historical artifact with things they don't agree with at the manner, and they do it a little bit of a different manner, but they're both still doing it. I've never seen the full court press of just destroying monuments at this point that I've seen from both Democrats and ISIS. Like, they really are doing that. Like, they're going around, they want to remove, they're
destroying
taking the names
statues.
off of, they want to change the names of schools. Like Robert E. Lee High School, they got to change the name of it. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell happened? And one historical thing that I did find out later on is that afterwards, after the Civil War was all said and done, that time frame in which they would have had the most support for removing all of the Confederate stuff, the Congress, the Union side, which actually won, basically said that even the Confederate veterans are United States veterans,
Yes.
and they should all be treated with the same amount of respect. Like, there's something that's already been written in law that says this, and they're now gone back on that completely, and they're trying to get rid of it. It ain't just a flag anymore. It's whitewashing the entire thing.
Like it didn't happen.
Look, there's a Democrat group that wants to eliminate Jefferson Day dinners. They still want to do the dinner, but they want Jefferson's name off of it, which I actually think they should have it off for a completely different reason. But like, they want to remove Jefferson Day dinners because he owns slaves.
Yeah, I mean, when you're willing to dig up the remains of a deceased Confederate general because it's somehow offensive, something is kind of wrong with your mental conditions.
Yes.
That's really kind of where I have to leave with that. I was just like, I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, I understand I understand it because it's really weird. Like, what? Because here's the thing. Look, you want to take the rebel flags down in front of the state capitals and put them in your museums. I don't necessarily disagree with that completely. I still don't think it's a racist thing. There might be people that think it is, but I don't think at the end of the day that it is. What's funny is I was leaving out last night before I went to this meeting. I actually was walking out of a convenience store, and there was these two black guys that were walking in. They were talking about the flag, and one of them said that the flag ain't got nothing to do with Nazis or something like that. Basically defending the flag, which I thought was really funny. I actually wanted to stop the guy and go, "What did you just say?" But I didn't do that. However, watching this happening, though, it's like, do they really think that getting rid of symbols is going to actually change the conversation? Like, you think people are not going to be racist anymore? It's like, well, I don't see that flag symbol anymore, so I guess I love black people. Like, it doesn't work that way. If anything, what you're doing is putting out more content. For people.
Contention.
Yeah, contention.
And that's the thing is people are going to actually have a lot of animosity now they're going to have animosity towards the groups that they already didn't like because it's like, well, now I can't even have the flag that I like because of you. So now you're perpetuating to increase the hate instead of getting rid of it. Just because we took flags down, it's like, oh, racism is gone because we removed a flag. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just going to get people entrenched and emboldened in their positions and cause
more
more
division.
strife.
Yeah.
Well, I would even add that it would probably turn people towards anger and frustration. So if you have that, Southern teenager who happens to have a flag for whatever reason, now it becomes a symbol of racism. And if he doesn't feel like he's being a racist, now he's being called one. So it's definitely, added that sort of element to it. And to be honest, we also covered a story that really didn't get a lot of play this week, was the one of the black supporters of the Confederate flag because he says that it represents all of the black soldiers that served in the Confederate Army, and that it is disparaging to remove it and take it down. It dishonors their sacrifice and what they did to fight in that war as well. One of them actually died in a bizarre car accident this week where he was run off the road, the car flips into the ditch and that kind of thing. So that story's on the Dispatch as well.
Yeah, and look, and there is a lot of violence towards people with that flag. Like if you're all by yourself in the wrong neighborhood and you have that flag, they're going to get you. And these people feel like they're justified in the violence, and I think that's where they're not only wrong, but they are having the opposite effect. If unless you're looking to have a race war, then you're going down the right road with it. But to watch people just beat the crap out of another guy because of a flag is just look. I hate to steal a Carlin quote, but I'm going to steal it again. Symbols are for the symbol-minded, and that's just it. If you get that offended or that upset or that happy as it relates towards one of those symbols, well, then you know what? You're symbol-minded, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't. Honestly, I was telling Danielle this on the way home, and I swear I'm getting closer to this every day. I literally want to almost buy every flag in the flag store and burn them all.
He's telling me all these different flags that he wants to all put together and burn, and I'm like, okay, what you need to do is actually buy a flag store. Don't get insurance because that would be fraud, and just burn it down.
Yeah, there's probably at this point I really do think there's probably 30 flags that I actually want to buy and burn all of them at the same time and put them all touching each other too. Like I'm gonna have the ones that really hate each other the most touching each other the most. So when they burn, they like burn together and then infuse. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I like the idea.
I know.
I
don't want it.
Well, she won't let me do it though.
Me and you will do it. We'll leave
I think you'd make a bigger statement by just start flying around with random flags on your car. Just put like the Uzbekistan flag on your car, drive around with that for a week, and switch it out with some other country or some other bizarre organizations, and people will eventually start talking to you about that.
Let's put 30 little flagpole holders in the back of the truck and just always have like 30 flags and make it like the oddest. We'll have so many different flags that shouldn't go together.
Like the Nazi flag and this Israel state flag, like right next to each other.
And just drive around with all these flags.
If you're going to do it, you should do two flags that are completely in opposition to each other. You should do that. Would be one way of doing it as well. To where like a fiver. Like you have the Israeli flag, the Nazi flag, the communist flag, a KKK flag, and then a
Star Wars Rebel flag.
Yeah, and the Star Wars Rebel flag. All those
and that's the thing is just have all these flags together that don't make any sense to be put together, and anyone who actually liked all of those things at one time would be schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And just drive around, and when people ask you, and literally you could say it's because those don't mean anything.
I love flags.
The ISIS flag, the Republican flag, the Democrat flag, the flag of Australia, and the Now flag.
Oh, he pulled out the Now flag. Nice.
Gotta have the flag of Zimbabwe though, because they have the coolest flag because they have an AK-47 on it.
Well,
but you can't flag anything else with that though. That's special.
That is special. That is very special. That's
that means something.
Now that's a symbol I can get behind.
And that flag cost $1,700 trillion of Zimbabwe dollars.
Or $5.50. In other words. Brandon, anything else going on out there?
There's so many things. I can't even get to them all. So, feel free to wander around the Dispatch. Did anyone of you make it to some of the movies that we talked about last time?
No, I
didn't go to any.
No, we didn't go to any movies yet. We're
Ethan comes in a couple days though, so we'll probably take him to a movie.
We'll probably go Ant-Man. Probably.
Yeah, because he really wants to see Ant-Man.
Now, hold on. I have you know what? Speaking of that, though, I do got a question for Brandon on this, and maybe Greg or Brandon knows. Was Ant-Man black in the comic?
No.
No, and why would you think he was? I'm confused now. Now I'm out. The Zimbabwe thing is not relevant to Ant-Man. Disconnect.
I don't know. Somebody wrote an article about how they said I don't remember where I saw it, but somebody read something about how Ant-Man should have been black, and I don't know why they said that.
Well, there are a lot of comic book properties that are having the ethnicity of people changed in the movies. The new Fantastic Four, we're seeing that. We've seen that already in some of the other movies. So maybe that's what they were getting at. Like this is the perfect opportunity to use another token black guy in one of your movies. But I think what they're missing is...
I think Donald Trump was racist when he said that because Ant-Man was a thief.
That's probably why they didn't do it, because Ant-Man's a thief, and the last thing they want to do is perpetuate the stereotype of black guys being thieves. So that's probably why they didn't do it. But they also have movies coming out that have more black characters in it anyway.
Right.
All right. Go ahead. Well, his name is Brandon. The website is theglobaldispatch.com. Brandon, thank you so much, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care. Talk hard.
Talk hard. It's always nice talking to Brandon.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. All right, well, let's take a break here real quick. When we get back, though, I've been waiting for this one the whole time because you guys haven't even told me the whole story on this one.
We haven't told you the story, so you're getting this live, Alex's reaction.
Yeah, my reaction to the next story will be live. I don't know anything about it, so you're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or TackleMyTicket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit TackleMyTicket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at TackleMyTicket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back, Liberty Underground 1787 Radio Network. All right, because I got to tell you, it's been very difficult for me the entire time waiting for this story, even though most people probably won't even care about this story. So it has to do with Hulk Hogan. So go ahead and start.
Well, Hulk Hogan's in a little bit of trouble with the WWE right now, apparently over a story that's been around for a couple of years. He did an interview on a radio station that is known as an urban music station. I believe it's named after Eminem.
Right.
It's an uncensored station. They play the songs as they are on the album, which includes dropping the N-bomb a lot. Well,
Right.
in this interview with Hulk Hogan, they're talking to him about this topic, and I have the audio here. My browser crashed though, so I have to refresh it here. I'm going to try and play this audio for you because I think we should preface it with the audio. Wouldn't you agree,
Right,
Danielle?
yeah.
Okay.
You have to understand why people are upset before we can go into the rest of the story.
And why it doesn't really make sense, because you got to hear it to hear why everybody being upset.
Stop reading the story. You need to hear it from us.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so here's the audio.
Well, I didn't want to go there.
You've been saying brother for years. Any black guy ever said, yo, you my nigga? Like, you my nigga, Hulk.
Well, Booker T used to do that to me on TV.
Yeah.
You know, and every time I pull up YouTube, there's that famous thing that Booker T, when his brother was there, and they're all talking trash. And Booker T goes, "I'm coming for you, Hogan, you nigger," and not nigga. He goes nigger. I mean, it's like, and it's still so cool because the whole time I was down in Miami, you know, when I lived there, everybody, you know, like I walk in the booth and all of a sudden I bump into this guy in the games in the booth. It's all black, and he's got his BlackBerry, and I bump into him, and he goes, "What's up, nigga?" And I said, "Oh, dude, excuse me, bro." You know, he goes, "No, it's all cool." You know, and everybody down there, Lil Wayne, Birdman, everybody, you know, they're all, you know, calling me nigga, and I'm like, and then I started saying it, you know, and I always said it, but now all of a sudden I get heat when I say it, and they say, "Hogan, you can't say that." I said, "Well, why can't they say it to me then?" It's like, you know, but brother was cool because, dude, you know, back in the day during my career, I used to party real hard. I couldn't remember anybody's name.
So brother was the easiest, brother was the easiest way to That's like the neutrality word right there. Hey, brother.
Yeah, they
you know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah,
because I'm always like, hey,
and that's essentially it.
Hold on, is that it?
That's it. That's the controversy.
That's it.
So
that's he was. Hold on a second though. He was actually describing a story of a black guy calling him that, and the story of him.
Several black guys calling him that. So this happened in.
He was on a black radio station with black guys at the same time, and I don't think they had a problem with it at the time.
This happened in 2012. This is not recent. This isn't like it happened last week.
No.
This happened in 2012. You're absolutely right. They asked him, is it like us using this word? He's like, yeah, and he relates the story to a question they asked, and he gets a lot of heat just now for it. But the WWE yesterday scrubbed Hulk Hogan from everything on their website. He's no longer found in the Hall of Fame. He's no longer found on the Tough Enough as a judge. Every mention of the words Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea is completely gone from the WWE website, and they made absolutely zero comment as to why they didn't. It's not like they came out and said, it's a controversy, we've ended our relationship with Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea. They actually said absolutely nothing and just deleted him like he didn't exist.
Wow.
Okay, look, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Look, it doesn't make any sense at all. Look, there's something else going on here, though. This is a different kind of contract dispute that they use this in order to kind of...
We don't even know if this is the reason why WWE took him off of everything. People are speculating that it is because WWE, Vince McMahon, the entire McMahon family, nobody is saying a word. They just deleted him without any comment. Nobody has any idea why. So the only thing people can speculate is this 2012 interview where he says the N-word when asked about the N-word.
This is just... look, this doesn't make any lick of sense.
He's getting the Pharaoh treatment. They're like trying to scrub him from history.
Look, here's the other thing too. Look, I like wrestling. I am not gonna lie to you. I like watching wrestling. It's about as real as politics, so I figured why not. Except for that sometimes they beat up the bad guys, which I would hope that in politics more of the bad guys got beat up. But oh, come on, though. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is stupid. This is stupid. This is so stupid.
Wait, now this is breaking since we talked about it this morning. This is at 10:40, so this came out 5 minutes ago. WWD has finally released a statement, and this is what it says. WWE terminated its contract with Terry Bollea, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan. WWE is committed to embracing and celebrating individuals from all backgrounds as demonstrated by the diversity of our employees, performers, and fans worldwide. That's it. That's all they said.
It has to do with this comment, then. So that does confirm that at least. But that comment was... people are taking political correctness to a level that they really shouldn't be taking it to. This is nonsensical.
Yeah.
There's something else going on here. This is completely nonsensical. I would argue that R-Truth is much more racist with his stereotype on WWE than anything else.
Yeah.
And this is something where you have Terry Bollea who, and they're asking him, you use the word brother, is it like this? And they're the first ones to actually say the N-word.
But he calls everybody brother, though. Like, it doesn't matter. Hey, brother.
Right.
And he explains why, because he didn't remember anybody's name, which that's fine. That's I know a lot of people. When I was in the Marine Corps, I used to have one guy that he called everybody Devil Dog only because he could never remember anybody's name. He was a captain, too. Like, he was in charge, and he would never remember anybody's name. Everybody was Devil Dog.
Well, and that's the thing is, listen, there's tons of people, and you'll always see, especially in politics, we see that a campaign manager will go around with the candidate and be like, oh, you remember, Jane? Oh, of course I do. It's been so long. And they do this because candidates generally meet so many people, they never remember anyone's name. So they always bring someone with them that has to take note of everybody's name so that they can go, oh, you remember, before that person can come up, so that a candidate always looks like they remember everybody. This is so... It's one of those things that these little tricks have been used in every single... You have a lot of assistants that do this for celebrities. It's wide known that people do this. They don't remember people's names, so they use their term that they just put everybody in. Waitresses even do this. They call everybody sweetie or honey because they have no idea what your name is anymore, because you see one of them and they see 1,000 of you. And it's just like one of these oldest tricks. But at the end of the day, the use of the M-word was brought up by the radio host, not by Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. It would be different if Hogan had started the conversation and brought this up and tried to do this in just an offensive way or just unseemly, just some way that wasn't even funny, trying to be funny and you're not. But that wasn't it. He was asked about this. The topic was brought up to him. They said it first. They brought it to his attention and pulled it out of him. Right. And then everybody's going to be upset. All he's doing is recounting what's happened to him. If anyone should be in trouble, it should be Booker T.
Because Booker T actually is the first one to say it to Hulk Hogan.
On air.
Right.
I mean, he's the one who said it on air on WWF programming. This was back when they were WWF, not even WWE, that he did this. And Hulk is the one. It's one of those things, man. The person at the top is what everybody's shooting for. It doesn't matter. Hulk is the number one man in the wrestling game. And like they always say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And who's the man? Hulk Hogan's the man. He's at the top of the stack, always has been. This industry exists and makes the money it does because of him. And so he's the target. He's the one that everybody's always going after, because the only thing the world loves better than a hero is to watch a hero fall.
Yeah, and that's true. It's just weird. I don't understand that one. That one doesn't make a lick of sense, man. It really doesn't. I don't understand how... That makes no sense at all.
No.
There's no need for that one. That one's... There's not even a way in which you can... there's not even a way that you can almost... There's no way you could even spin that to being racist.
No, and all the things are reporting, that they... WWE terminates contract after racial tirade is caught on tape. What are you talking about?
Racial tirade.
And this is from 3 years ago.
And it's not a racial tirade.
No.
It ain't even close.
No. Now,
Not even in the same ballpark.
there is some people that are saying that there may have been a deposition that he used the N-word in, but again, a deposition is generally you recounting a story, so you have to tell every single instance, you have to tell every detail of a story when you're giving a deposition. They say that there could be some terminology in that they also were upset over.
I actually have that. I have that. What they're saying is that from the transcript of the leaked sex tape is Hogan referring to black people as F&Ns and then admits, I am racist to a point. That's what the transcript of that video.
Okay, so it doesn't have to do with the thing that we just heard. It has to do with something else.
His sex tape?
The sex tape apparently is where this comes from.
Okay, well, that might be a little bit different, I guess, but I'd have to hear it in the context, though, in order to know for sure, because it doesn't ever sound like that guy's racist.
Because the guy is talking about how he's, he's...
you'd have to, I don't know, we'll have to see that one, though, because that's the lawsuit. No, I don't even know who's seen the tape and who hasn't seen the tape. I've never seen the tape, so.
But now they're saying that
I wouldn't want to see the tape.
that he called The Rock the N-word, but these guys are friends.
Yeah, I'm going to send this over to you.
Well,
guys.
when you something that you say when when you don't think the cameras are on, and something you say when the cameras are on, sometimes they're two different things. So maybe that it's all a show and that he really is racist, I guess. But I mean, I don't know.
But you're talking about people he hung out with after, and like that they were actually friends.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's apparently it's the National Enquirer that is breaking this story.
But he's saying it because from some of the reports that I'm reading, he actually is saying this about people that he's friends with from the WWE. Well, at that time is the WWF.
Well, I just sent you guys over the story that has like the stuff from the transcript of the sex tape, which is pretty bad. It is pretty bad. So if you guys want to check that out. So if that's what they're taking it from, that's fine. But the reports were that it was about this 2012 radio interview that he did, which apparently is not the case because we've all just listened to that. And, in context, it's really not an offensive thing that he said. I mean, that's not to say that people aren't going to be offended about it because the continued pussification of the United States goes on every day, and this is just a part of it. And we can't even stand to have our poor little eardrums hurt with a wrong word.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, this is...
Oh, because this is his... Okay, he's talking about his daughter.
Yeah.
He didn't want his daughter dating a black guy.
Yeah, that's what I see it now.
It's like that one guy, though. What's his name? The guy that used to own the basketball team.
Oh yeah, the
kind of goes down that line.
The Knicks, yeah, or not the Knicks, the
Clippers.
The Clippers.
The Clippers. The Clippers. The Clippers.
The Clippers.
Knicks and Clippers.
Sorry, I mixed them up because well, you get Knicks with Clippers.
Yeah, you do get Knicks with Clippers. I understand how you got there. I don't disagree with you.
I mean, they are the Clippers anyway.
Yeah.
I think, but if you read more into the transcript, I think he's more upset that the guy didn't have money than he is about the color of his skin. If you read the
to an extent, yeah, it does sound.
You should judge a man by the content of his wallet and not by the color of his skin.
That's right.
If you read the rest of it, it is definitely more about the guy not having money than it is about the color of his skin. He doesn't say it in a very politically correct manner.
And it's one of those things where he's like,
hold on, it's a sex tape that was being done undercover, by the way. Like it wasn't supposed to be there. Where'd it go, Bubba?
Yeah, I mean, typically when you're in the place where you're having sex, you feel that it's kind of private, so you say other things that you may not necessarily want public, just like your genitals. You may not be looking to have your genitals put out in public, or the things that you're saying at the same time your genitals are out. So the assumption of privacy, I think, was there.
I definitely don't want to see Hulk Hogan's genitals in public, by the way. I don't want to see them.
I don't want to see them in private either.
I don't want to see them in private either.
I'm not a fan of
at
male
all.
genitalia. I really don't even look at my own.
I do like my own. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do like my own.
I do appreciate what I have, but I don't stare at it.
I don't stare at it. What are you, racist against penises? You penis racist? You have penis guilt. That's what you have. You have penis guilt.
He does like basketball players, though.
There you go. All right. So, look, one thing that we didn't get to in the first hour that we do, well, we may have 5 minutes to get to right now, though. What's going on with what was you guys put up Uber for a reason, though? What was the reason for the Uber thing?
Well, Uber's in the news all over Florida because it seems like counties have now all of a sudden realized Uber's around. Like, we've all been taking Uber and using the services and talking about them for a couple years now, but it seems like some counties are just now realizing they exist and deciding that they need to be regulated. So all within the same week, like Collier County, Palm Beach County, Broward County, Hillsborough County, everyone decides, all of these county commissions are like, oh, we have to do something about Uber. Like you're just realizing they're there. I mean, they've been there for years now. But so we've just had a lot of talk in the news, especially all around Florida, where cities and counties are starting to try to make regulations to just get rid of Uber.
Well, yeah, and I think that there's a lot of different stories that have different meanings, or that have meanings that are bigger than themselves in the story. We talked about that with the craft brewery industry. That one of the things about this is that there's so many other side stories that need to be told that are good examples here. That's why you want to mention, even if you don't like beer as a libertarian, you should love craft breweries. But Uber is a very similar thing where you're talking about creative destruction within an industry, within the transportation industry, and how a company that owns 0 vehicles can utilize technology to make it so where you could replace something that has long outstanding ties to, government, and that by getting rid of those ties that they're able to actually do something for cheaper and to do it better than what was being done. And Uber fits that category.
Right.
And it highlights something that while most people don't really think about it, like how many people really think about the cab companies and the monopoly that the government has with cabs? You don't really think about it very much. It's not really a big thing on your, on your problem list, but it's a big thing on the government's problem list because when they see something like Uber come out, they want to stop them for that reason.
Absolutely. And I actually was talking about this with, online with someone, and they were making the point, well, you have to have these licenses and you have to have this. And, I'm like, well, where do you draw the line? If I ask my neighbor, can you bring me to work every day, 5 days a week? I'm going to pay you every single day for a year. Should they have to now register? Do they need a license? They have a contract. They have an agreement. Where do you draw the line? If that's my roommate, do now they have to have an agreement? They already had to have a license to drive the car. Me sitting in the seat next to them, did that hamper their ability to drive? That they need extra government screening? And that's the point I was trying to make. But I also... Uber is more like an eBay. And this is what I said to them last night. Uber is as much a taxi cab as eBay is a retail store. I can go on eBay. I know that I do not have the same consumer protections as I do walking into a department store and buying a piece of clothing or an article of anything that I want.
And that's true.
And that is true. If I buy on eBay, it's buyer beware. If it doesn't show up, if it doesn't come in, if something's wrong with it when it comes in, I can give that person a bad rating, but I have no legal recourse because it's buyer beware when you're buying on eBay. This is the same thing as Uber. I can't, I'm not going to have the same protections from the government. I'm not going to pay the same price. I'm going to pay a lower price. And the recourse that I have is giving them a bad rating. Both companies are a large company. Both companies have people quitting their jobs to become entrepreneurs on their platforms. It is the same thing, but we don't see this war on eBay, but we do see it on Uber. But there's no difference between the companies' business models.
Yeah. eBay is a place where you can buy things that does not house one item.
Right. And you do not have the same. If I go to a store and that store sells me something that was advertised to be something it wasn't, I have consumer protections. I can go to the state of Florida, and I can go to their consumer protection agency, and they will get me my money back. immediately.
Well, look, and in fairness to eBay and in fairness to Uber, is that they do recognize that and do things to try to counter that.
With their rating system.
With the rating system. So, and that does work in the long run.
Absolutely.
Where it does more to eliminate bad actors than it does to rectify an individual situation.
Right, because I will go, and when I go to buy something on eBay, especially if it's a larger ticket item that I'm getting at a lower cost, I will look through that person's ratings to see if that's someone that I trust doing business with. And the same thing on Uber. I know I'm getting in the car with this person, so I will look at their ratings to say, is this someone that I feel like I'm comfortable getting a ride from? It's the same thing. I'm not, but as a consumer, I have the same right to take on the risk of buying something on eBay that I have in getting a ride from someone like Uber, because I could go to any stranger on my block and say, hey, can you give me a ride? And I have no idea what's going to happen when they show up to give me that ride. But I'm taking on that risk. And Uber is only a platform where people that want to get a ride get connected with people who want to give a ride and take money for that. And they process those payments.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as eBay.
Yeah. Anything to add, Greg?
Nope.
All right.
That sums it up.
All right. Good times.
I got no jokes or nothing.
No jokes or nothing, huh? All right. Well, the website address, 1787network.com, 1787network.com. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show this week. A lot of different subjects that we were going through, but thought we went through them all very well. Congratulations on Danielle for giving a good speech like the Microman last night. I still think people understood what you were saying. At least the parts that they could understand. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. You're listening to Liberty Underground.